Hey, you know, I'm pretty good at making friends. What I'm not good at though is making friends that want to hang out with me in the garage. So today, I'm going to make me a friend. Right, how was I going to create a friend for my garage? Well, the first idea I had was AI, a kind of ChatGTP robot that would give me high fives and tell me how handsome I am all day. But after doing some research, I found that it was just weird guys making sex robots. I didn't want to be that kind of weirdo, so I'm going to make a puppet instead and be as cool as Barnaby Dixon. Now, if I was going to make myself a puppet friend for my garage, he had to be a badass like Hellboy and crazy like the animal. Now, with that rough idea in mind, it was just a case of starting. But I'd never made a puppet before, so I gently crushed up some paper to make his head. Satisfied, I then used masking tape to make this template so that I could then cut the foam to make the skull. Now, it did say on this glue that you had to use it in a well-ventilated area, but I didn't experience any side effects at all. Now it was time to make his mouth, using a bit of thin plywood, some tape, and some leather bits. Satisfied how the head turned out, I decided I was going to use the same process to make his body. Now it turned out his body looked a little like a...
Johnson! Yes, sir. Get on the horn to British intelligence and let them know about this.
Despite the childish humor of the shape, it was incredibly difficult to put together, and I had doubts if I could even make this work. But I was inspired by this little turtle's persistence.
Yes, go you little champion! Oh.
Despite that baby little turtle being torn apart limb by limb, I decided to persevere. And after cutting an adequate-sized molestation hole, I thought it was time to hunt down some skin for this guy. Now, when I go hunting for materials, I like to get back to nature. What's that? Is that... No. Is that the fabric I conveniently placed there earlier for this video? Wow. What are the chances of that? After a quick session of waterboarding, I realized the puppet wasn't going to talk. Someone had stolen my pencil. I just didn't know who. By stretching the fabric over the head, I could see where I needed to cut to make this template. Then I just had to borrow my wife's sewing machine. Yeah, this sewing machine was going to make light work of this. But then it just kept on getting jammed.
God damn it!
Strawberry. So I was forced to sew it by hand, which took a long time, forcing me to multitask. But I got there in the end, and they were looking pretty sweet.
Nice.
But as I fitted the skin over his head, I started to realize I was still all alone, and I needed to get him finished. Otherwise, I'd turn into one of those weird guys getting excited over tool catalogs.
Oh.
Bugger that, I couldn't give up now. And I'd done it. I was one step closer to having a friend in my garage. It was only his arms and legs to go, and I'd have a friend. But again, without a sewing machine, doing this by hand was long and painful. With the leg and foot looking pretty good, the last thing I had to do is close up the seam using what they call a ladder stitch. Now, don't ask me why they want you to climb a ladder and stitch up there, but I mean, I did it anyway. I think it would have been much more efficient if I actually did it in the workshop. After attaching the legs though, it was time to look at the hands. The whole idea of having a wire skeleton in his hand was so that I could manipulate his hand to do whatever I want. But without an arm to attach this hand to, it's going to be useless. So I was in for hours of hand sewing. Lucky for you, I edited this down to 10 seconds, you lucky pricks. Now I heard the best thing for the arms is to use what looks like anal beads. But come on, people already think I'm a weirdo making a puppet. So instead I found some beads that weren't being used. But instead of stringing them all up, I decided that I was just going to fill the arms and then sew the hand on. With the final touches, Hank, as I was going to call him, was finished. Yes, Hank was finally going to come alive and be my friend in the garage.
Where's my dick? I'm naked without a dick. What the f***? Why are my hands bigger than my feet? What kind of f***ing maker are you f***ing asshole?
As the barrage of insults came streaming from Hank's mouth, I realized he was my inner thoughts, and I had just spent hundreds of hours making a puppet. I really had to get some friends, even if I was going to have to do it the hard way, by drugging and kidnapping.